From the moment when COVID-19 first steamrolled into our lives, we've had to learn to deal with change as each stage of the pandemic changed the way we live, the way we work, and socialize. Hi, I'm Jeff Tobe, and welcome to We Love You, Now Change. I want to start today's presentation by taking you back. The year was 1988, before many of you were even born. SMU Business School in Dallas, Texas, and they studied change in major industries and professions in the United States and Canada. Here's what they found. If you were in the food service or long-term care profession in 1988, you went through a major change in the way you do your job every 3 years. It meant that by 1991, something you did was going to change. The reason I take you back so far is because they recently redid the study about 4 years ago, and they found that those 3 years in your profession have been reduced to 7 months. 7 months, and this was pre-pandemic. It meant that something you're doing right now, its standard practice, is going to change drastically over the next 7 months or less. I can't think of a better way to equip yourself to not just manage change. That's why I don't like the term change management, but to actually thrive from it. How many of you have ever heard of the 21-day rule? 21 days to do something. What am I talking about? Put it in the chat box. Perfect. That's right, habit, yes. 21 days to make, break, or change any habit. I'm glad so many of you knew that because it comes from AA. Good to know my audience. Anyway, AA is an amazing and wonderful organization, and I certainly don't mean to make fun of them. But many years ago, they said that if you could quit drinking for 21 days, you wouldn't break the habit, but you'd get over the first hurdle. So it was translated to mean 21 days to make, break, or change any habit. Try something for me. I know I can't see you, but I also know that you're willing to participate. So, if you're wearing a watch or a bracelet, would you take it off and just hold it up? If you're wearing a watch or bracelet, take it off and hold it up. I know you feel silly, but please appease me. Now, as quickly as you can, take that watch or bracelet and put it back on the other arm. I know you don't want to. I know it's uncomfortable, but like I said, please appease me. Good. Now, how awkward is that? When did it just gain like 2 pounds from one arm to the other? But here's my challenge. Just until you go to bed tonight, I'm going to ask you to force yourself to wear this watch or bracelet on the other arm. As uncomfortable as this feels, every time you go to look at the time today, every time you realize that bracelet's on the other arm, I want you to ask yourself, what else do I do that's strictly a habit? That's all this is. I mean, if for the next 21 days or so, you consciously put this watch or bracelet on the other arm, after 21 days, it would start to feel comfortable. The things we're talking about today when it comes to change and thriving from it are not meant to make you feel comfortable. It's time to get comfortable with feeling uncomfortable. The changes you're going through in your profession right now can't possibly feel comfortable, but 21 days of trying something new to see if it doesn't feel more comfortable to you. And I have a challenge for you. If you know anybody else who is participating in this presentation right now, sometime later today, give them a call and ask them what time it is, just to make them look silly, right? That stands for That's the Way We've Always Done It syndrome. Ever hear that before in work? Of course you have. And the first step in driving change through the organization or your team is getting past the TT-WWADI syndrome. And number 6.5, make it fun. People learn and adapt if given the chance to have some fun with change. Here's a video that proves my point. Here's a great graph that illustrates how change affects different people. I like to say that for some people, it's not the change they're afraid of, it's the speed at which they're being asked to change that scares them. So you can see that at the left we have endings and reconciliation. Every change involves losing something, an ending, and then a reconciliation with the new way of doing things. You can see the person in the top left asking questions like, what's going on? And this can't apply to me, can it? Total denial. As we move down through the anxiety and shock, we start to find reconciliation in fear, anger, and frustration. The person telling themselves that this is garbage and it's just not fair. Then there are those who are in the middle, in exploration and reorientation. The truth is that we're all born natural risk takers. How else do we learn to walk, talk, ride a bike, ski, or thrive from change? I am not a scientist, but I would venture to guess that research would show that we learn more in the first decade of our lives than we ever will after that. That's no accident. Isn't this the period where we are more likely to take risks? If we weren't born risk takers, we'd all be crawling around on our hands and knees. I don't know if I should try to stand. I'm only a 1-year-old. I'll fail. I think I'll wait until I'm older and stronger. As children, we don't know any better than to explore the unknown, the untried, untested every single day. This is the prime time for making mistakes, picking ourselves up, dusting ourselves off, and trying again. Yes, I said that correctly. Approximately 70% of business initiatives are still failing to achieve what's been promised on time and to spec. So what could be done to fix the problem? In the end, leaders must understand that how change is implemented is just as important as what's implemented. When the people side of a project is mismanaged with poor change management, there is a high price to pay. I recently found this short video about change. Just thought I'd share it with you. See what you think.
What this organization desperately needs is change.
While it's normal to feel frustrated and unsettled by all this uncertainty, there are ways you can equip yourself while dealing with life changes. During turbulent times like a pandemic, much of the anxiety came from the reality that many decisions are out of our hands. Feeling like we're not in control of our own path is pretty upsetting, but figuring out precisely what you can do and can't do will help you maintain a sense of stability and reduce the fear or anxiety. You can't prevent a storm from happening, but you can pack an umbrella. So, we've already determined that it's human nature to resist change. However, to keep up with the constantly evolving marketplace, organizations must be adaptable and growth-oriented. To quell the resistance that inevitably accompanies transformation efforts, a few change management exercises could go a long way. Change management exercises are games or simulations that motivate employees to accept change and actively engage with the change process. When posed in a positive, zero-stakes setting, these exercises minimize resistance and make change a fun event. So, let me share just a few examples of activities that will get employees excited about upcoming change. So, we're coming to the end of our time together. Let me wrap things up by quoting a Beatles song. You say you want a revolution? The best way to drive change through your team or organization is to start a movement. So what exactly is a movement, you say? A movement happens when people gather around a single idea or cause and do something about it. It doesn't have to be life-shattering. You might have heard this referred to as a tribe, and every tribe needs a leader. But there are 3 obstacles to building a tribe. First, you don't have an idea that people will flock to. Second, you think that all you have to do is start a group and people will come. And third, you're afraid that if you start a movement, it might get out of control. Well, let me share one more video that will explain how a movement is formed. As a leader, be ready to provide opportunities to make hope come alive when it comes to change. Challenge people to do something. When they're activated, they move forward. And finally, be a role model. As Gandhi said so eloquently, you must be the change you wish to see in the world. Until we meet again, I'd like to leave you with the words of author, speaker, and guru Robin Sharma. Change is hardest in the beginning, messiest in the middle, and best at the end. Here's to change.